Hello, I'd like to thank everyone for joining us today. My name is Armando Gonzalez, and this is my team, Nicholas Quintero, Francisco Rivera, Luke Reiner, and today we'll be presenting our One Strategy implementation for Metal Venture. A quick overview, the strategy that we developed for an effective implementation of the One Initiative. We've selected a pilot subsidiary and developed and implemented an ERP system, realize increased operational efficiencies, and the prepared long-term and large-scale expansion. Our recommendations. The ideal pilot subsidiary is all about Alloy. The system offering is an industry-specific custom ERP system and cloud-based, run through Microsoft Azure.
So why did we go with all about Alloy? So we actually took into account three key considerations when choosing all about Alloy. The first was operational scale and time horizon. All about Alloy is kind of a middle of the road in terms of size and total orders. This allows us to efficiently and time effectively implement the ERP system into all about Alloy, all while maintaining kind of low cost during the integration. All about Alloy is likely to reap instant benefit from the integration of the ERP system, just because 2020 was so hard financially for them, that an increase in operational efficiency that the system would bring would almost immediately bring benefit to their short-term financials. And then lastly, was senior leadership's willingness to implement the ERP system. We do need their full support in order to successfully integrate the ERP system, since without it, there could be kind of a developing negative bias towards the ERP system, which would kind of hinder our ability to integrate the system in a timely and efficient manner. So using the data that was given to us, we kind of did some analysis. So on the right, you can see how we broke down the revenue that All About Alloy was making year over year. We use this by just using their sales orders and their average order size. For 2021, we projected a revenue of 93 million, which is about a 41% increase from 2020, which was the most negatively affected year, and obviously the issue with this whole situation. And then towards the bottom, you can see how we broke down the cost for integrating the ERP system. So this includes things such as the cost of software, the ancillary fees, the implementation, the consultants needed. So we ended up arriving at a total cost of $291,000. This only reflects a 0.3% of their projected 2021 revenue, which is a negligible amount considering that this effort is ideally to pull them back into profitability. Another key stat that we found from the data was looking at their revenue figures year over year. We actually landed on a 7.85% compound annual growth rate, which kind of leads us to suggest that All About Alloy was growing healthily over the past few years and will continue to do so. So why didn't we go with other subsidiaries? Number one thing was resistance. Other subsidiaries that were among our options, like Braxton and Stainless Steel, were basically the risk of implementing the ERP system to them was greater than the potential output. And then also their senior leadership team was very hesitant, or just hesitant in general, to kind of adopt the system as if they felt that it could reduce their operational independency from the corporate. Okay, so this kind of plays into what I was mentioning before, where All About Alloy was kind of more supportive of the actual integration of the ERP system. So if interest levels were kind of indifferent, we would have this, or that they were hesitant to integrate the ERP system. We could kind of see the negative consequences by a lack of senior leadership actually willing to implement it and kind of developing that negative bias I mentioned earlier.
Yeah, so now we want to reiterate a little bit some of the goals of this plan, not just relative to how we wish to implement it, but to how the firm is going to reap the benefits of this. So the primary short-term goals are that it's going to increase operational efficiency across all the back office processes of the individual firm that we are going to be implementing the system through. On top of this, it's going to allow us to synergize a little better with the front office to potentially boost profit generation. And then the long-term outlook is to implement and develop a system that's going to be effectively carried over to the other functions, or pardon me, not functions rather, but to all of the other subsidiaries of the company over time. So regarding the project plan, I want to go a little bit over the high level of the things that we want to analyze. So we want to come in immediately and talk to upper level management and subject matter experts within the firm. So that's primarily going to be department leaders of back office functions. We're going to do this because we want to understand where the best places are for us to be able to increase process efficiency, supply chain and inventory management issues. And then this is going to allow us to basically have overall better processes of internal data processing, and also potentially boost to the supply chain, like better on-time deliveries, which is of course going to lead to better visibility of inventory, potentially reduce maintenance costs. As far as how we're going to do this, our team of consultants is actually going to come in with 4. One of them is going to be more management strategy consulting. That's going to be to relay some of the ERP changes at a high level to the C-suite and leadership. One consultant is going to be part of the ERP department. They're the one that's going to be the most hands-on working with Microsoft to actually help us develop and implement this. We'll also have a manufacturing and distribution specialist, because that will be our industry expert that's going to help tailor our plan to your firm. And then we'll also have one business intelligence and analytics consultant that's going to be kind of the catalyst that helps tie a lot of this information together. So what we plan to do is create 3 teams internally. One that's going to be primarily tasked with process analysis and operation integration. So they're going to be the ones that see what processes are supporting what functions of the front office, where is there bottlenecks that are potentially reducing value, and where's the most opportunity for value creation. The second is going to be data procurement and management. So this is the team that's going to actively capture the data as we start to roll out the actual plan before we implement it through training. And they're the ones that are going to be setting us up for the final data migration before the actual rollout. And then the third team is going to be training. This is going to be the most mixed team. And this is the team that's going to handle basically actually training the staff regarding all of the different areas of the ERP system. To get a little bit deeper into the actual implementation. So we're going to implement finance, procurement, and manufacturing ERP modules, basically all on one level. I'm actually going to switch really quickly to our timeline just to give a brief overview of how we plan to do this. So basically in the first week, we'd like to meet with the senior leaders, SMEs, get a feel for where the core competencies of the firm are, be able to establish our teams. By week 2, we want to implement and finalize these teams. Weeks 3 to 4, we want to have the training plan set. And then by week 5, we want to actually be rolling out the test versions of these modules. So like I said, to get back to it, it's going to start with finance, procurement, and manufacturing. I'll flip to here really quick. That's going to then move on to inventory and order management, as well as warehouse and supply chain management. And then finally, human resources and customer relations. So flipping back to here, once we're done implementing the final ERP stage, which is going to be the human capital component, we're going to try to have a live integration starting at week 8. And then this is going to give us an extra 2 weeks for potential technical troubleshooting, as well as just general assistance. And then by week 12, we would like to have officially launched one within the company. This is still going to give us basically a full month of rollout in order to support and maintain the program and assist the firm internally. So the primary risks that we were able to identify for this implementation were that there's going to be a potential disconnect between senior management and employees regarding the benefits. That's really where we come in with the teams to be able to get a lot of people working together to understand where the synergies are, how it's going to help everyone's life and make everyone's life easier. Another risk that we did consider is that the projections of efficiency increase would be a little bit too generous, and that even if it works, they're not going to reap the perceived benefit. This is something that we don't believe is going to happen because we believe we have a pretty well fleshed out plan, but it is something that is always going to be a consideration. Any pushback or disconnect between front office and back office is also going to be a risk, but this is something that we're again hoping to mitigate with these sort of combined teams that are going to be allowed to cross-train each other. Pardon me. Of course, we have things like the plan going over schedule as well, but we are going to work in consistent checks, not only with the IT department of Microsoft, but also with the actual trainees to make sure that everything's running smoothly. And then finally, one that's a little bit inevitable is that one succeeds, but potentially it doesn't do enough to convince some of the more resistant subsidiaries. That's something that would have to be looked at in the long term. As far as the benefits, though, we do see this being a pretty direct avenue and a low cost alternative to basically making the entire business processes of this company more efficient. We also think that we're going to be able to maintain better management and manage our human capital, as well as our data in general. And it's just going to push this firm towards a higher state of technological integration, which is one of the main things that's missing to remain competitive in the current environment. Regarding the forward-looking guidance, we would like to open the floor up to any questions that you all may have regarding our process implementation, as well as any support that we may be able to give you moving forward. And if there is no questions at all, then I thank you so much for your time.